Real life stories to bring awareness to domestic violence, human trafficking, and systemic corruption.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important announcement.
So you had brought up the work that you had done before you had decided to run. Do you want to talk briefly about that? Touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So I was an independent contractor for the federal government. So I'm catching my kids in the background. I don't know if you can hear them or not.
It's distracting for sure.
Can you hear them or not?
No.
Well, I can. I've got some kind of noise cancellation thing, so you guys shouldn't be able to hear them, but I can hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was an independent contractor. I contracted with the OIG, USDA, OIG, FBI. So predominantly human trafficking, or counter human trafficking actually is what it is. My expertise was counter child sex trafficking. So there was that. I also worked counter corruption. I tell a lot of people whenever I speak about it, the title is counter trafficking and the title is counter corruption. But the truth of the matter is that we were hired by our government and to create more corruption and to blackmail. That's actually what we were doing. Now, of course, whenever you sign on, you don't sign on for those particular things. You sign on to actually make a difference, to combat these things. But you end up finding yourself, just because you're given orders, you end up finding yourself being part of the problem. And I worked for 2 administrations, and our orders would come directly from the commander-in-chief. And in both administrations, the first one was Obama that I worked for when I started my career, and I resigned at the end of, in January 21. So I worked for Obama and I worked for Trump. And there's a lot of people that's not going to like to hear this, but they both were equally corrupt. I mean, we did some horrible things. Horrible things. They use the Constitution as toilet paper. They don't care nothing about our rights. They'll talk about it all the time. They'll use things as like the border as a propaganda, but they have no viable solutions. They don't want to fix anything because for them, they just want to campaign, make money, raise money, and they need as much propaganda as they possibly can to accomplish that with the way the society is now. So, and we can, like the border, I lived on the border for 8.5 years, almost 9 years of my career. This has been a problem for a long time. There has not been either side try to fix it. I said before, they just use it as a propaganda. If you look at the data from the 90s, from 1990 to about 2010, it was really high, and it stayed that way. Now it peaked in 2001 to as high as what it is now. But it was still right there. I mean, it was like 1990, 2001, just a little bit back down to where it was through the 90s.
Right.
All the way. And in 2013, 2014, it started going down slightly. 16, it's popped back up to where it was in the 90s. It leveled off and then it went down, and then in 2019 into 2018, beginning of 2019, it peaked, it skyrocketed, and at that time it was higher than what it's ever been, and it's pretty well stayed that extreme from 2019 till now. So this is a problem that's been going on for a very long time, and as I said before, nobody wants to fix the problem because it's a great campaign. It's something great to campaign on.
Yeah.
And they make so much money on it. The corruption at the border with the Democratic and Republican Party, like, I could show you guys things, documents, videos, audios, like things like that from my previous career. paying off politicians, going to go pick up money out of for their cut. And it's Republican and Democrat. It doesn't make a difference. And I mean all the way up to the top, to the White House, to the big man himself.
Well, it's the only thing that makes any sense. You can't have problems and corruption on the mass scale that we have it in the United States and not have it start from the top.
That's for sure. Everybody, absolutely. Because the top allows everything else to exist. So I lived in Rio Grande City, not Rio Grande City, Rio Grande Valley. Rio Grande City is right next to the Rio Grande Valley. But Rio Grande Valley, Texas, which is McAllen, Brownsville, Edinburgh, that area. So right on the border. So I lived down there. And, you have the Gulf Cartel, the Gulf Cartel, which is right across in Reynosa, Progreso, in those areas. With much more areas than that. But in that particular area, it would be Reynosa and Progreso. So you've got to understand that the cartel members that are over there are cousins to the elected officials straight across the border on the other side, on our side, which are American citizens.
Yeah.
You also got to understand that there was a big family that started the Gulf Cartel, the Guerras. One Guerra, okay? So now, not all Guerras. It's kind of funny when you get that in Mexico, just because they get the last name does not mean that they're related. But it gets a little confusing. But whenever you go to South Texas, you've got the Guerras, you've got the Garzas, you've got the Garcias. They're all families from that Don Juan Guerra. Whenever you come across Sheriff's of Garza, Garcias, Guerras, all related. They're all cousins, primos and primas. The head cartel people right across the border. They're the ones enforcing the laws, passing the laws. They're the one, like you just pay them. Boom, boom, boom. You can pay for anything you want at any time. You can commit any crime that you want at any time as long as you pay them off. It does not matter. And if you ever buck the system or speak against them or go against them and try to bring light to it, well, they'll just put you in jail. They did that to me 3 times. I mean, you Google my name, you search long enough, you'll see it. I got illegally
That's how you know you're
3
doing
times.
something right.
I guess, I get interviewed a lot, and I used to get asked that question a lot. Well, what about you being arrested? And I'm like, well, I mean, I never was even indicted. Like, it was BS, but whatever.
Right.
So I'm like, but look, say if I did do it, at least I was a felon before I was a politician, not after.
And there
and
you
that
go.
Shuts down. Yeah, that like shuts the reporters up. They don't even know what to say afterwards. And I'm like, okay, where you you want to go with this now?
Right.
And it's sad, but that's true. That's true. I mentioned the border issue. That's what's on pretty much everybody's mind on both sides.
Right.
Listen, the border, we send a whole bunch of money into a whole bunch of different places, right, to help countries. We're really just laundering the money. I'm the guy that just says it like it is. They're really just laundering taxpayers' money. Yeah. They're helping the other countries, but most of the money goes back into special interest pockets. I mean, it is what it is. We all know that, right, left. We all know that. For some reason, we keep voting right or left and just allow it to happen, which blows my mind. But if we're going to send money anywhere else other than here in the United States, it should be something that directly affects us. So we need to look at why there's an influx of corruption, which we already know the answers to this stuff, but we still have to look at it. Why there's an influx of corruption coming across our southern border, why Mexico allows the cartels to exist in the way that they do, why South America is doing the things that they're doing, why they're allowing these countries from overseas to come over here and come across the border. Now, we all know the basic answers, but we've got to find the root of it. Okay, once we do that, we're better off to allocate money to combat that and eliminate that and help our southern neighbors fix their country. So messing up ours, that is better than any wall. Shut down the border all you want, folks. I live down there. It doesn't matter because of the corruption on the border. the primos, the cousins that live across the, it doesn't matter. They can talk about all that crap all they want. The corruption's too bad.
It is what it
But
is,
yeah,
and we can't change what we can't acknowledge.
I know, and we need to start acknowledging it. And we don't want to, because we would rather go with what our guy or what our party says. I've got a saying that I always say: we have to stop seeing truths for what we want them to be and see the truth for what it really is. And until we learn to start doing that, there's no hope for us. There's no great Republican or Democrat savior that's going to come and do anything for us. It doesn't exist. And it doesn't matter. Look, I hear all these politicians, and I am one, so, I talk crap about them, but I guess I am one. So I hear all these politicians, they're always talking about these different things, and every once in a while they'll come up with a solution, or they'll make an empty promise or whatever. And we'll go back to the border issue. They talk about how they're going to fix the border, they're going to shut it down, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. BS. Nothing can be done. It doesn't matter if it's health care. It doesn't matter if it's the border. It doesn't matter if it's some form of reparations. It doesn't matter if it's lowering taxes. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters until we overturn Citizens United and strip big money out of our government.
It's
because
taken over.
Our politicians are bought and paid for. Now, I say that all the time. And you would be surprised at the people that are like, well, what's Citizens United? Well, Citizens United is the root of our problem. Huge problem. So what Citizens United allows, it gives corporations, large corporations, the same rights as we the people. So it sees that entity as one of us with more rights. They give them the same rights plus more. Okay, whenever it comes to campaign finance, so let's say if you were to donate to my campaign and you said, well, I want to donate as much as I can, $3,300 is the max, and you cannot donate any more after that. That's it. It cuts off. You're not allowed to donate another dollar. But if you're a large corporation and you want to donate to a super PAC, you can donate as many millions of dollars as you want. It doesn't matter. And you are seen, or the entity, not you, but the entity as seen as a person with the same constitutional rights, which is...
It doesn't make any sense.
Impossible.
Like, how do they even come to that conclusion between the two?
They snuck that in on us. And then whenever people are strolling through and they see Citizens United, because we're all about reading titles and headlines and not reading the whole thing, So if they're strolling through at Citizens United, well, that don't seem bad. Let me keep going. And they never read what it really is. They don't have anything about uniting the citizens. Anything, it's the opposite. They do that stuff intentional. And there is nothing. I don't care if you're Donald Trump. I don't care if you're Joe Biden. I don't care if you're RFK Jr. I don't care if you're me. There's nothing that can be done. There will be no solutions. There will be nothing done until we overturn Citizens United. Because with Citizens United in play, we, the people, have no say-so. Our say-so is so limited whenever it comes to even electing a president. So limited. Protecting our borders. Good wage. Health care. Whatever the case may be. We have no rights under that as long as Citizens United exists, because they have the say-so. Large corporations have the say-so, and they're not going to do what's best for us. They're going to do what's best for the corporations, for the almighty dollar.
They got that money and that power. They got to keep that coming in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I like to switch. People will see different interviews, just so you know, I dress different in each one of them. It depends on where I'm at the time.
I love the
hat.
Huge fan of the hat.
Sometimes I'll be dressed up. Sometimes I'll wear a suit. Right now I'm on the farm, so this is how I dress whenever I'm on the farm. But it doesn't really matter to me, because it is what it is. I'm here to fight for the people. I'm not here to win a pageant. So
Amen. You know, and it really shocks me how many people just have such a big problem with voting independent. I've never understood why more people aren't more willing to vote independent, being that they are the very few politicians that don't get involved in all of the corruption.
well, let me show you something. Now, I have access to every registered voter in the United States. Okay, like every single one of them, how they're registered, how they vote, how they voted in the past, their address, their phone number, their email addresses, all this stuff, and it's a whole bunch of them. So let me break this down for you guys. So on the Republican side, this is nationwide. Okay, 28% of registered voters are Republican. That's it.
Wow, really?
That's it. On the Democratic side, this is the numbers as of last month, by the way. They change every month, but it's
Right.
only by like a 1 or 2%. It's never, it just fluctuates. On the Democratic side, as of last month, only 30% of the nation. And the independent, 2%. Now, for the last 35 years, the independents have been anywhere from 40 to 52% of the nation. So the independents are the overwhelming majority. All right, now let's talk about the candidates that we have now. On the Republican side, 70% of 70% of this 28% want Trump. On the Democratic side, it is, what was it, 68%. All right. The remainder amount of this, of the percentage, neither Biden nor Trump.
Right.
The remainder percentage of this, on this side, neither Biden nor Trump. So the Biden fans and the Trump fans are the minorities in our nation. But we've become a society of drama. So we've allowed the two extreme minorities to control everything. That's not how this country was structured. Now, here's 42% of the nation, right? Now listen to this. A whopping 96% of that 42% want neither Trump nor Biden.
Those are some pretty big numbers.
Yes, it is. So the remainder out of the Republican Party, the remainder out of the Democratic Party, and this 96% of that 42% are a overwhelmingly huge silent majority. Up until now, actually, I might not look like it, but we're fixing to get to the nitty gritty of it. But up until here recently, there's never been an independent that has had ballot access in all 50 states. Never. In our history, it's never happened. We do have ballot access in all 50 states.
Nice. Yay.
Now, I am completely self-funded. Completely. I am an independent. There was no reason for me to go public, really public, and start asking people to donate to the campaign if I could not be on the ballot, because it's not fair, right? And I don't want their money anyway. I mean, we're going to need it for this. So a lot of people say, well, how did you get on the ballot? It cost me, nobody else, me out of my pocket, $33.6 million.
That's a lot of money.
A whole lot of money. That's what it cost me right there. You can check out the financials. You can do all that at fec.gov. You can see how much I've spent. I've spent another around 830,000 just on miscellaneous stuff and paying team members and stuff like that.
Oh, so you mean actual transparency? That's what that looks like?
Yeah, that's what that looks like. I mean, you can go on and actually see what I pay and everything. But now here's the thing. You see this $33.6 million?
Mm-hmm.
The only way for an independent to get on the ballot, because of the way the FEC is structured, half of it goes here, and the other half goes here. I have to pay my competitors
Wow.
a total of $33.6 million
So how much do they pay you?
to get on the ballot to compete. They didn't pay me anything.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one for you. You ready? Because we're getting ready to drop some money for this. For an independent, just them to mention their name, for them to be on the news, for the New York Times or Washington Post or any of the other newspapers, whatever, to list my name right there under the independent, right? It costs me $1.4 million per day.
Oh my Lord. So does that go to the super parties too?
Yes, it does.
Oh my gosh. Like, and it blows my mind the way that so many things are set up, and we the people just, oh well, and just let it continue and let it go on, and we don't do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, it also blows my mind how people will say, well, a vote for you is a vote for the other guy. If you think that, that's a lie that you've been told your entire life, because the numbers don't lie. The majority want somebody else. The majority wants something else.
I've heard several people make the comment where when you vote independent, it's like a waste of a vote or something along those lines. I'm not really sure where that's coming from.
Well, it's just the two parties have always said that. The two parties they don't want people voting for anything other than the two parties. So they make it to where it's a waste. But they also make it to where you've got to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money on the ballot. A lot.
Well, it deters people from trying to step up to get rid of the corruption.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I'm lucky I was able to self-fund. My family has a history of funding government things and being screwed over, so I figured I'd just keep it going.
Yeah. Mama said when you find something you're good at.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, like, people can look this up that listen to it. You can go and you can look up Nathaniel Drake, which was during the Revolutionary War. Like him and George Washington were really good friends. George Washington lived with him some during the Revolutionary War out of New Jersey. But it was the Drake family that funded the Revolutionary War and never got paid back. And that's my 8th great grandfather. So
that's been going on for a hot minute. They just like your money.
Yeah. Yeah, for a very long time, that's for sure. And, you know, I mean, it made the family go broke. Because of that happened, it made the family go broke. The money that I use that is actually money that I made in my previous career. And the truth of the matter is, folks, is I consider it as ill-gotten gains because of the horrible things that we did do through my 15-year career, and use that money for anything other than good. I mean, I spent a 15-year career hurting the country and getting paid for it. So it's ill-gotten gains. I have to use that money to fix the country, to undo all the wrongs, not just the wrongs that during my career that were done to the American people, but throughout the history of the United States. So we'll keep pushing and we'll keep fighting.
We sure are grateful for you and happy that you've thrown your hat in the race. And I'll sure do anything I can to help promote you. I love your message. I love your transparency and your honesty. It's quite refreshing. We don't really get that from politicians.
No, and you guys can visit my website. It's pdrake4us.com, and go in and actually read the policies. Don't just read the titles of the policies. I wrote those policies myself. No one helped me. I Don't let this southern accent fool you. I do have a 160 IQ. I do know how to read and write. I just sound horrible. But go in and read them. And keep an open mind. Don't be Democrat or Republican whenever you read it. Okay? Because I worked really hard listening to what everybody wanted. The right, the left, and the center. Okay? I put all three of those things together and found common ground and wrote policies. And if we don't think Republican or Democrat, I promise you that you will like them. I promise you. But you got to read the whole thing. You can't just get triggered by one word or this or that. And as I said before, think Democrat or Republican. Because in every policy, I put something for everybody.
Yeah, we have to, as communities, we have to learn how to compromise too and work together for the common good for everyone.
Absolutely. And you'll read some of my policies and you'll see that whenever it comes to large corporations and the things that they've done to us, I am brutal. Those policies have teeth because I believe in free market capitalism, not this elitist capitalism crap that we've got now. I mean, we might as well live in a dictatorship.
I mean, they've gotten away with so much for so long.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And we have to put a stop to it. Look, if not for you, then we have to do it for the future generations. My children, I don't know if you guys can hear them running around in the background. My children will have no future if we don't do something. If we keep voting in the Joe Bidens and the Donald Trumps of the world, we might as well just go ahead and just unalive ourselves because we're killing the nation anyway.
It's destroyed more and more every term that passes.
Yeah, it is. And there's nothing good that comes of it. It's just more division, more division, more division. Listen, humans are naturally tribal. We have been since the beginning of time. But we have to start understanding that we're not a tribe of Republicans and we're not a tribe of Democrats. We are one tribe, which is Americans, which is extremely diverse, which is what makes us so strong. And we have to start seeing one another again as Americans. That's what we are. There is no Republican. There is no Democrat. There's only Americans. And dialogue is very important. You cannot just shut somebody off because they're not part of your party. You can't just roll in and argue with people. You have to have dialogue. You have to talk. You have to listen to each other. How many people do you hear now that are like, if you got a Republican and a Democrat that are talking, all they care about, they don't talk about policy. They care about is, how can you think that Donald Trump is a good president? Well, how can you think that Joe Biden's a good president? Well, you're wrong because you think Donald Trump's a good president. No, you're wrong.
Everybody's focused on the wrong issues.
It is. It really, I mean, for sure. And, hey, you got to hold on a second, all right?
Yeah, no problem.
They're 3 and 5. Like just now, they'll blame each other. No, it was Stella. No, it was James. No, it was Stella. And it's like...
A never-ending battle.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, most presidential candidates would have a babysitter or whatever. I'm doing this, campaigning, running my nonprofit, running a farm, and watching my kids.
Multitasking like a boss.
Yeah, I mean that's why have kids if you can't enjoy them, right? I mean
yeah.
And they like to work too. Well, they're roboing on children's Robitussin right now. They're hyped up. They haven't felt good in a couple of days. And I went and asked the pharmacist, told them what was going on and everything. They'd already been to the doctor. Didn't give them anything. So I said, look, I got to give them something. They just don't feel good. So they told me to get some of the children's Robitussin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh! In like 45 minutes.
Oh no!
I'm like, oh no.
Well, I guess they're feeling better. Shoot.
Yeah, they're feeling better for sure.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. So anyway, people can go to Drake, number4us.com, read the policy, send me a message, an email. I'll actually respond back to you. And I love doing these interviews. I like talking to people. So let's do another one.
Great. We're going to do another one where we talk more about your other organizations and such that you have going on.
For sure. We're going to do one there. It'll be with me and my co-founder, Tim Kelly. But if you want to do another political one, we can do another political one too, because we can go through and I can give policies and the solutions and stuff like that. If your viewers want to see that, if they don't want to see it, well, then there's nothing in doing it.
Well, I'd be honored to have you come join me again.
Yeah, it's fun.
For sure.
Anyway, well, look, you guys have a good day, and we'll catch you next time.
Next time.
Hold on. I'm not going to yell at him this time. James, Stella, come here.
They're too busy.
They're going to come in here. I'm going to let it. They're going to think they're going to be on an interview. Hold on. Since they want it. You guys want to be on an interview? Here.
Well, hi there. How are y'all
Hold on,
doing?
I gotta hold on 1 second. They can't hear you. Speak now.
Can you hear me now?
Now they can hear you. All right, Stella.
Whoa.
All right.
Well,
so
how
what
are
you
you
guys
two doing today?
Well,
You tell her you forgot to brush your hair this morning.
well, I forgot to brush my hair this morning.
It's okay. It's overrated anyways.
How are you going to change the world?
Well, by just being just like my daddy.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That'll work. Anyway, we'll say bye.
It was so nice to
Now,
meet you. Thank you for joining me.
So you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
All right, y'all go. You got to be on an interview. You can be famous. Close the door.
I've been on the interview.
I know you have before. Y'all got some attention. Y'all can be quiet now.
And that's how that works.
It's a very start. I can't put it in better. Well, let's kick ass and take some names.
Let's do it.
Have a good one.
You too.